Ladies and gentlemen, Cavaliers, the family of Lieutenant Colonel Eugenio Lara, I want to thank you this morning for gracing us with your presence here at the historic USS Midway Museum. Because today we honor not just a veteran, but we also honor our countries, the United States of America and the Philippines, and also we are here to pass Lieutenant Colonel Lara's legacy to you. My special thanks to Evangelina for all the reading materials. Because of that testimony, I know not just of his actions, but the values of the man that we need to pass today. So today I have two objectives in my remarks. One is to talk about the medal as part of our program. And number two, and most important, why do we celebrate and hold these congressional gold medals almost 80 years after World War II has ended? So, the first part. Before we do that, I want to welcome those here from the Philippine Military Academy. So, as Joe said, I'm a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland. When I left for Annapolis, I thought I would get geographically and culturally farther from the Philippines. But the reverse happened because of my friends from PMA, from West Point, Coast Guard, and Air Force here. So I didn't get able to see that, so I didn't know those guys. But you know who I'm talking about. All right. But also, it was a PMAer that taught me how to speak the language of war in the terms of the generals, the admirals, and the politicians. And I'll talk about it another time. But first, let's talk about the medal. On your left, right here, you see the obverse side. This is the reverse side on the back. It is the highest congressional award, civilian award in the United States. If you're wondering why there are no ribbons on the medal, because it's called non-portable. It's not meant to be worn. So if you're looking for something that that President has around your neck, no, it's not. This goes into a special place at the Lara home. Okay? But I ask you here present to look on your left. Here are the Filipinos and the Americans that fought in World War II. On the left, with the flying saucer-looking helmet, are those of the defenders of Bataan. In the center are those in 1946. And this gentleman right here, like my father-in-law, represents the Filipino guerrillas in World War II. In the bottom right here is the soldier liberating the Philippines on the beach in Leyte. So now I ask you to shift your attention to the reverse side. Prominent here is the duty to country saying, because that is what Lieutenant Colonel Lara and the rest of those that defend Bataan fought for. Duty to country. Okay? Here are the campaigns that they participated in from Bataan, Luzon, Leyte, Southern Philippines. But I ask you to take a look at these 3 years right here. 1941, 1945, 1946. We can say 41 is the invasion, 45 is the liberation, and unfortunately, 1946 starts the humiliation of our veterans when they were denied their benefits by the Rescission Act of 1946, which our Congress started to change in 2016. Now, for the main parts of my remark, our message to you. Why do we hold these ceremonies 80 years afterwards? First of all, we need to recognize the values that Lieutenant Colonel Lara stood for. Because as we see conflicts erupt from the Ukraine worldwide to what you call the West Philippine Sea and any other parts of the world, we will need those values that he stood for. Again, not only from our men, but from our men and women who will carry on the fight. Lieutenant Colonel Lara was what we'd call, to borrow a term from Tom Brokaw, part of the greatest generations of Filipinos. Would you not agree? And that greatest generation, they were the most patriotic. They were the ones who says, Pilipinas muna, bago sa atin. They're the ones, in the case of Lieutenant Colonel Lara, his motto of his alma mater, courage, integrity, and loyalty, was his true north. Putting countrymen before self. Lieutenant Colonel Lara could have sat out the rest of World War II. The Japanese, not shown here, paroled many of our kababayans after the Bataan Death March and after a year, with the promise that they will not take arms against the Japanese. But in keeping with the motto of the Philippine Military Academy, Lieutenant Colonel Lara understood that if he ceased to be the beacon of the land, as you would hear from the alma mater, if he ceased to be the beacon of patriotism, he will plunge his Filipinos into darkness, and with that, the despair and the hope of a prosperous and independent Philippines after the liberation. So this he did not do. He fought on, and he fought hard. Secondly, we celebrate for another reason. We celebrate our country's, the United States of America's, ability to change course and say, yeah, you know what? We made a mistake. We are going to start to change course, and it starts with Tony Taguba's changing of for the Congressional Gold Medal. But that also comes as a warning to all of us. We need to be active participants in this country. We change course in this country because our true north is the values of that all men are created equal. And we share a dream in this country of the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our true north. That's what makes us Americans. Now, for my last point as to why we celebrate. As we said, Lieutenant Colonel Lara is part of the greatest generation. We are here to pass the torch to you, the new generation. Ito po matatanggap ang mana ni Lieutenant Colonel Lara. I ask you here today to tell the story that you've heard here long before this ceremony is over. Tell it to your children, your grandchildren. Tell it to your friends of all races. Teach your children not just how to get a comfortable retirement and work for them. Teach them to take ownership of their citizenship in our country, the United States of America. Because we, the government, do not receive what we deserve. We receive what we demand of our government. Because in the words of Abraham Lincoln, we are a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And it's up to you here, seated here, that it shall not perish from the face of the earth. I ask you to carry on our best of our culture in this country. Let our spirit of bayanihan, what makes us shine in this country. Let our days as the greatest generations of Filipinos and our as Americans to be yet to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, Cavaliers, to the family of Lieutenant Colonel Lara, I thank you for gracing us with your presence today. I thank you, my fellow veterans, for carrying on the mission, to carry on the torch of Lieutenant Colonel Lara's conviction. Maraming salamat. God bless all of you. God bless the United States of America. At mabuhay ang Pilipino. Cheers! Mabuhay! Mabuhay!
Inspiring.